Look at that damage, bro. Holy shit. That was fat. Is it time yet? Don't ask me how I should live that. Do not ask me how I live that because I have no idea. Don't even dare ask me how the fuck I lived that. And this is why Warcry's healing me are so fucking important, because I have an unlimited life pot. Literally an unlimited life pot. People underestimate how fucking strong that shit is, dude. Oh, the guy is in the bag. One death only. How you doing, bro? Easy. Out of it. What is up, you guys? Kogi here again, and this time with another league starter for 3.17. But this time, it's a bit different because the last league starter, Pantheon brand, is my league starter, and I like it to be a little bit experimental because I want to have fun. And that's what I enjoy. I like problem solving in the builds. So the build looks amazing. It has, you know, insane damage and it has insane defenses, but there might be small quirks that I might have to like quirk around with, you know what I'm saying? Things like duration, which you can easily be fixed by efficacy or unbound elements and lowering a little bit of damage. And ES region, which can be fixed by, you know, ES on kill or maybe Divine Shield or Ghost Shroud, one or the other. We can fuck around with it because if Divine Blessing works, we can put in Grace, right? And then I can use Ghost Shrouds because I have a fuck ton of evasion now. But, you know, small things like that are things we normally have to deal with. But for these league starters, we don't have to deal with that because these are tried and true builds that I've already played. I know they work. All the quirks have been fixed already and they're reliable, and I can give it to you guys as a league starter. And the first one we're going to go over with is Rage Vortex Berserker. It is a build that I played last league as a league starter. It was absolutely insane, super cheap to start off with, and gets stupid amount of damage. And I've also have other people in my Discord play, and it was one of the most successful builds ever. You know, and the only really expensive item in the game, in the build that's actually needed is the weapon, obviously. And you can use Scavas until later because it does perfectly fine. But you can also just buy a cheap, slightly lower or same DPS as a Scava by getting a higher attack speed weapon, which makes the build just feel smoother overall, even though you're doing the same amount of damage. It just feels better overall, right? Things like that. But just to like quick note before we go into the POB and things like that, this might not be the playstyle for you because it is a Warcry build. Rage Vortex is kind of like a pseudo slam, just even better because it moves on its own. And for that very reason, Warcries are just too busted to not use. So if you want to click a lot of Warcry buttons, you know, stay away basically. But if you like a fuckload of damage and, you know, you don't mind the Warcries, especially since we have so much Warcry speed that it happens instantly, you shouldn't have to worry about it. I like pressing a lot of buttons. I like an active playstyle because I like having fun. I don't like losing my life on a fucking game just walking around. I'm sorry, I'm not that type of person. But nonetheless, let's go on to the POB so you can see where the numbers come from and why it's such a good league starter. I've made videos about this, so if you guys want to go back also to the other videos, you're more than welcome to. Just in case I missed something here, but I'm pretty sure I'll cover it all. So let's go into that. Now, before we move on, as per usual, if you guys want to help me out with the YouTube algorithm, you know, please leave a like on the video and or leave a comment/question. On top of that, if you guys want to join the Discord community, ask me on a different place, you can join the link down below. And then I also stream on Twitch every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And I will be playing the league start, obviously, on Friday, and I'll be starting Pantheon brand. So if you're going to plan or build it with me, you know, it's a good place to catch it, see if I make any changes along the way. It shouldn't be anything crazy, but there might be some super minor details that could make a pretty big difference in your build. Other than that, though, let's move on to the rest of the video. So moving on to the POB and, you know, the leveling stuff. As you can see here, this is the POB down on the left. Is the leveling trees. We start at level 44. And really quickly, I want to explain how this build kind of functions and why it's such a good league starter. Well, Rage Vortex does not need, what is it? Freaking multi-strike. So it doesn't repeat, which means you can exert it really easily because, as you can see here, if you have one Warcry, my next 3 attacks are exerted, and then one big Rage Vortex is just one attack only, and it lasts like a good amount of duration. So it literally gives you a lot of exerted attacks you can take off. Point being, Rage Vortex has duration, so each attack does a fuckload of damage. Intimidating Cry, for example, does double, makes your damage do double the damage, and it applies to the whole duration of Rage Vortex. So if Rage Vortex here, it lasts 3 seconds. The entire 3 seconds is doing double damage, not just one hit. So if it hits 100 times, let's say 20 times in those 3 seconds, all those 20 hits are double the damage. You get my point here? That's why it's kind of busted. So moving back into the POB, you know, we want to use a lot of Warcry speed, things like Admonisher. Admonishers allows you to then use a lot of Warcries very quickly. As you can see here, they happen on the snap of a button, because without Warcry speed, Jesus, do they feel really, really bad. I found out that you don't really care about the alternative quality for the Warcry speed, because the difference between just having Admonisher and also having the gem, it's basically like 0.002 or 0.02, I think, like that. Not that noticeable. I don't really recommend it. Like, it's not worth the money in my opinion. You know, we can get more exerted attacks through Measured Fury. So each thing that exerts attack is what additional exerted is really nice. Things like that. And the good thing about Warcries is you can remove elements through Warcries, right? You can recover life through Warcry, and this recoverability of Warcries through life actually go over the Maven Beam. Because if you walk through the Maven Beams at the last phase, they get rid of all your regen, and the only thing you have, and leech. The only thing you have left is your flask. But this actually overwrites it, and you can still heal it, kind of like a flask. It's kind of weird. I don't know how that happens, but it is what it is, you know? And otherwise, we also get max fortify. We are determination. We have, you know, 90% mitigation, 28,000 armor. We have molten chill, the whole shebang. A bit of block is only because we have a shield, but nothing really too crazy there. Right? So that's pretty much the gist of the build in terms of war cries. Interpreting cries there for double damage. Infernal cries there to make the enemy take increased fire damage to cover your Nash. And also big pops. Because if you put it on a pack of mobs with your let me put the volume up on a pack, this entire pack here, they'll explode, which is really nice for like expedition, blight, things like that, harvest especially. And then the last one, Battle Mage Cry, is kind of special, and I love this, and it's actually really good. Battle Mage Cry gives you crit, 1 crit chance. 2, it makes the next 6 attacks trigger a spell linked to it, and I have Wave of Conviction here triggered, so when I hit somebody, it summons Wave of Conviction, giving them minus 15% rest to exposure. Link it to combustion if it crits, or, you know, if it ignites, right? They have minus 10% fire res, right? And it used to be on my Infernal Cry, but I had to swapped it out because I need space for mark on hit and Assassin's Mark, because we're taking it out of the ring. In the POB, this ring is not there. He's letting you know. Since it's not going to be in the ring anymore as a legacy now, I put it here, and it makes the build cheaper, so that's why I have to move things around. But on top of that, Battle Mage Cry says that increases of reductions to spell damage also apply to attacks at 25% of their value, right?
I cannot do this
so,
yet.
If you look at this skill right here called Iron Will, so strength damage bonuses apply to all spell damage as well, right? So if you look at strength damage's bonus, go to character here, it says 1% melee fizz per 5 strength. We have 329 strength. All right, I hope I'm doing this math correctly. Correct me if I'm wrong, chat, or guys in the comments. Divided by 5, that's 65% spell damage. Let's just round it down, right? 65% spell damage gained from this. But then, if you look at Battle Mage Cry, it gives you 150% of that spell damage as attack damage, right? So times 1.5. And boom, bada bing, that thing is giving us 97% damage for what? Like, what, 3 points on a fucking tree? 2 points on a tree. It's pretty fucking ridiculous, and it's actually kind of nutty. So it makes all of these war cries, like, absolutely insane. It's just ridiculous. Right? So for that very reason, I recommend you use war cries. But going to how it actually functions with the whole Berserker shebang here as well, look at the Ascendancy. What ends up happening, it says Warbringer. It says war cries grant 10 rage per 5 power if you have less than 25 rage. Well, when you're using the shield, the Red Blade banner, right, it has infinite power. It says war cries have infinite power. So basically, imagine that you gain 10 rage per 5 power. Well, imagine you gain infinite rage because you have infinite power. So basically, no matter how much maximum rage you have, in this build we have 90 rage thanks to the Bear's Girdle and the tree, the nodes on the tree, and the where is it? Is it Creative Slaughter? Creative Slaughter. We have 90 rage, but no matter how we war cry, we're always going to get 90 rage off the bat. The only real downside is any war cry after that will go down, as you can see here. Let me attack. So as long as you're below 25, you go back to 90. And then what's happened, it says that if we're above 25, so basically every war cry after the first war cry, you will then sacrifice 10 rage. That's why you saw it go down. But when you do sacrifice that rage, you do 50% more damage for the next 4 seconds, which is fucking ridiculous. And again, it applies to all that 3-second duration of that Rage Vortex. And other than that, we basically are going to go, since we have so much rage, we're going to go for triple the rage. And you might think, oh my god, but that degen. Well, it's kind of, that degen's really never there. Because you only lose life when you're not losing rage. Right? So you lose 0.1% of life per second per rage while you're not losing rage, which basically means when you're attacking. So basically, when you're not losing rage is basically when you're actually gaining rage is when you're attacking or when you just war cried. But during that time, you're basically attacking and leeching. And since you're always leeching, and that's why I always put like you're always leeching on the thing, because when we're attacking, we're always degenning because of this node. The only time that you feel the degen is when you stop attacking and there's kind of like a 1 second delay before the degen goes away. But you can just, you know, heal it back up by war crying. You can see how it goes degenning. You see how low degen is? Right, that's where it is. But look how minor that is, and it regenerates back up. It's not that big of a deal, right? It's so minor. But in turn, we get a fuckload of attack speed, attack damage, and movement speed. So, you know, all things considered, as you can see here, war cry, berserker, and now you're literally leaf slamming so fucking fast. Oh, there you go. It is actually ridiculous. And this is what I berserker because I went away. There you go. My mana is gone. I don't even have money enough for this shit. Right? It is pretty fucking redonkulous. So I highly recommend that on top of all the damage. So this node is giving us like 90% more damage. And then if you want to do the math, it's like what, like 90? 90 rage is like 90% attack damage, but you triple it. So it's like 90, 180 to 70%. 270% attack damage. Some stupid amount of attacks to the movement speed. You guys can do the math. But essentially what's happening is that we do need this Red Blade banner in order to get maximum war cries all the time in order for you to Rage Vortex. Because the way that Rage Vortex scales, it says that you sacrifice 20% of your rage to create a Rage Storm, and Rage Storm deals 5% more damage per one rage sacrifice. So basically, the more rage you have, the more you can sacrifice, and the more damage Rage Vortex does, and also the more AoE it does, because it has more AoE per rage. The Rage Vortex, sacrifice 5% of rage, goes a long way also to give you more damage, keep that in mind. These are not usually that expensive, but, you know, it's very helpful. And if you can pick it up, go pick it up. It's not that really that big of a deal. But if you're going to min-max or you're like an endgame, go ahead and please grab it, because then you can just slap essences on your helmet. We'll go over that, right? And for that very reason, that's why the build scales so much rage. And when you sacrifice more rage, the more damage you get, but that means you want to have maximum rage all the time. Because even though you have 90 rage, if you can't have 90 rage all the time, you're not going to have maximum damage. And that's why the blade's so important. And on top of that, in order to even use Rage Vortex, as you can see here, you need rage. Because otherwise, you'd just be spinning like a sitting duck. So, what ends up happening is that early on in the leveling tree, the first mastery I make you guys pick up is this even... There's not a leveling tree. There we go. Here, you can see it's different now. I changed it later because I'm assuming you already have the Red Blade banner, because it's actually a very, very low level shield. It's level 35, which is basically like Act 4. So if you have the money, you can buy it in Act 4. It says here, war cries have a minimum of 10 power. Let me show you what ends up happening here. Let me grab a few regrets. I forget, this is fucking standard. Ugh. No, I can't put it back in. That's why it's standard. No, I don't have any regrets because it's on my other stuff. There you go. All right, let me just grab a bunch of these over here. I hate standard. Too much things here. So we're going to take away this one right here. And instead, we're going to put minimum 10 power. And let's take off the shield. So what's happening with minimum 10 power is that because we have a minimum 10 power, according to this thing, you get 10 rage per 5 power. So basically, with the minimum 10 power, we get 20 rage. You can see here. If you work hard twice, now we have a 40 rage. Anything after this will then sacrifice. Well, I don't have another work right here, but yeah. So basically, since we're above 25 at 40, we'll go back down at lower. But this just means that while just leveling, which we don't even have 90 rage, nonetheless, we could barely even have 50 rage. At when we're leveling it, you can already use Rage Vortex, right? I don't do this yet. Because in terms, you know, use the War Cry twice and boom, you have 40 rage, and you can already use Rage Vortex without the shield at all. But it does, you know, mean that you have to press a bit more buttons. So if it does bother you, you can go ahead and level with something else and just put Rage Vortex on the side. You can use Steel skills. You can use. I'll go over the skills you can use. I use Smite with Ancestral Call and things like that. As you can see here, because of that mastery, you don't need the Red Blade banner. You can pick that up as soon as possible, and Rage Vortex is an Act 3 skill. So with that out of the way, let's go over the leveling tree. The leveling tree really is going to be a bit rough early on, and you're going to get life. Versatility is good for accuracy and dex and int, which you really, really need. Born to fight. And you're going to go straight for Admonisher because you do get Intimidating Cry and Enduring Cry, which you take out later, but it's good for healing early on, and that gives you that sweet war cries of a min 10 power. You don't really... You can actually, I would recommend just picking up anyway, but you don't really need the this until you get Rage Vortex in Act 3. But, you know, it's really good to just getting Warcries off really quickly. You come here, you can Measured Fury, allows you to basically exert another attack for your Intimidating Cry in Act 1, more life. Sword crit. So, at this point, if you're using a sword, please grab it. If you're not using a sword, probably delay it a bit. But I would recommend just grabbing any rare sword or something you can find, or using the recipe of a kind of a white weapon with a blue or rare rustic sash and a blacksmith whetstone, and you get like a fizz sword, which is really good. Right, I recommend a one-handed fast attacking sword. And this is really good because it gives you a lot of crit, and then this mastery is insane. It gives you a lot of crit and minus crit multi. You might think this is like a bad thing, but you get 10% crit chance for literally just only 20 crit multi. And we already have 420 crit multi, so 429. If only it was 420, that'd be hilarious. It's so worth it. It's not even like it's a no-brainer. You get steadfast, it gives you maximum fortify, is insane. So it gives you like 23 fortify. Or 21 because it gives you -3, right? And the mastery makes everything fortified, so you don't have to use a fortified gem, which is a big gain in damage. A natural authority allows you to have Warcry buff effect and to take increased damage and more life. As you can see here, we don't have a lot of like actual damage outside Warcry stuff. So for that very reason, for leveling, I want you guys to go ahead and use Smite, Ancestral Call, Chance to Bleed, and increase crit. You can even put like Added Cold if you don't have a lot of crit chance yet, or your weapon has bad crit. Like it says like 5% crit or whatever. But I recommend just getting increased crit because that and this, you have some like 30% chance of crit early on already. And what I mean by this is that Chance to Bleed has flat physical on it, and that kind of helps you skill your weapon early on. So please don't swap this for, you know, Onslaught or whatever the fuck. You can probably take out increased crit for Onslaught, but you're going to feel the damage loss. You need Chance to Bleed, and you need Ancestral Call for this to work. The other thing you can do is you can Mule Scion and use Steel Skills, but I enjoyed just my Ancestral Call playstyle more. I know a lot of people try to fuck with this and they had a bad time, so please don't mess with this. Use these 4 gems. Right, and that's pretty much what we're going to be using early on. And your first tendency pretty much is going to be the Warcry one. It gives you 50% more damage when you Warcry. Because once you get this Warbringer node, is then when you can use Rage Vortex. Because, like I said earlier, you need this mastery, and you also need this ascendancy to use Rage Vortex. Because this mastery plus this thing allows you to get Rage when you Warcry, which then allows you to use Rage Vortex. So until you get those 2 things in Act 3, maybe even Act 4, you're not going to use Rage Vortex. Let you know. So, League Start is a little slow because of that. But once you get to level 75, at this point, you have your Red Blade Banner. You know, you have your Scava. You can see you can use your Scava here. Let me add it in. I don't know why it's not here. And Scava is a good weapon because it's, you know, it's a level, 60 weapon. Good fizz, a fuckload of crit. Just make sure to get a decent roll. And you can use it over the other one. Right. You can see the damage is like 1 million less, but for the like a 1C sword, that's pretty fucking good. And the only real downside, honestly, I would use Scave all the time if it just was faster. That's the only downside. I just wish it was faster. That's pretty much it. Okay, so the only little trick to this now is that we get our leech from our cluster jewel. So I recommend before you have the cluster jewel, you can come here and you grab a leech right here, and it should carry you pretty much for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points until you get your little jewel here. We'll explain that in a little bit. Right, we do get prismatic skin for +3 or +2 to max res and +1 to fire res, and we get corrupting blood cannot be inflicted on you. Really, really good. We do need a lot of accuracy with Eagle Eye. We do come here and pick up the life and the maximum rage from berserking. Come up to here, more life and armor, more life, and then here's the fire conversion little strat. Since we are a fire conversion build mainly because of Infernal Cry, and I want to use things like Wave of Conviction and Combustion, you can literally get 90% conversion just from this one little area. You come up here, right? You can grab Avatar of the Fire. It gives you 50% conversion. And then you get Magmatic Strikes for 14% extra fire damage, or Fist and Fire. And then the Master gives you 40. So that's already 90% conversion. So the only, like, that's good enough. And then you can get the rest of the conversion from your gloves right here. And, but the 90% will carry you for a little bit. But I don't recommend you pick this up until, you know, you have a good Fizz sword. Because if you just have a fire sword or like a lightning sword, I don't know, whatever the fuck you're using, this is nothing. So, until you're like, probably until Scavo, unless you have a good Fizz sword, you can go ahead and grab this as early as you want. You can even grab it like literally in Act 4. But, you know, if you're using like an elemental sword, not really worthwhile at all. So, priority-wise, you can definitely pick this up before you pick up any of the other stuff, unless you need accuracy. Right? And then more disemboweling here is for a lot more crit chance. And this is Jewel. Fluid Motion. We have Fluid Motion here to help us with a lot of fucking dex requirements. This thing gives us 74 dexterity. The only reason we're using this is because the sword that we end up using has 212 dexterity. But you can use a Corsair sword. So if you go here into your sword, one-handed sword, and you go to like, Corsair, it only has a 117 dexterity. It's literally like 100 less. And it's not as good for crit as a, thrusting one-handed sword, but it does have accuracy as a base and it helps a lot with accuracy stuff too. But I used that in my first edition like 2 leagues ago, because this is my second time playing it, or if I play it again, it'll be my third. But I did play 2 leagues ago, and I used this sword. If you can grab one of these with a lot of attack speed, be my guest. I would recommend it, and then just craft crit chance on it, and it should be more than good enough, especially with Assassin's Mark on hit on everything now. And I recommend this just to save you your fucking hassle of getting a lot of fucking int and dexterity. That's pretty much what I'm saying. But if you're using a thrusting sword with a lot of dex, fluid motion goes a long way. You can even pick it up early. That's why I put it up here to help with those, dex requirements, because that's a lot of dexterity, 74 dex. Can highly recommend. The only downside is you do lose quite a bit of life. How much life do we lose here? We lose 50 strength, which is about, 50 life, and then and things like that. And it does make us lose a bit of damage because that strength could have been for Iron Will, So if you can use the Corsair, I recommend it. And that's pretty much it for the second tree, right? Getting the conversion, getting a bit of leech, and then getting more, life, dexterity, getting more courage. That's pretty much it. Self-explanatory. And then the ascendancy we're going to pick up here, you're going to go straight for Rite of Ruin, and this is when your build starts getting really, really fast. And this is where Scava doesn't feel as dog shit as it would usually be, right? And then at level 93, boom, bada, bing, you get the rest of the masteries, you get your jewels, whatever your accuracy you're missing, you remove the leech here, and now you have a cluster jewel, and it's kind of where, like, these cluster jewels are actually insane. You want Feed the Fury and Fuel the Fight, as both of these are Life Leech and Mana Leech. You can also use Drive the Destruction for the Life Leech instead of Feed the Fury, but Feed the Fury is way more damage. And then whatever third one you get is whatever you get. You can get like Elemental, you can get Smite the Weak. You can get the best one probably Martial Artistry, which gives you accuracy and attack speed. But if you can get that one, good for you. If not, whatever. And then this is the Omega Jewel that I want you guys to pick up, and it is Lead by Example. Because it says when you Warcry, you and nearby allies gain Onslaught. So basically, every time we Warcry, not only do you get Rage, we get Onslaught permanently. So we have Perma Onslaught in this build. Until then, you can go ahead and use a Silver Flask. Like you can remove the Sulfur and put a Silver, right? But that's absolutely insane. This one's actually I'll show you. This is an expensive one, but I'll show you how to craft it pretty easily. I'll just tell you now, actually, if it is. And then the other one's Mob Mentality, and this is where everybody kind of complains about. You got a configuration, and he says power, frenzies, and endurance. If you want to help sleep better, I'll put one of each. I don't really give a fuck. But basically, what ends up happening is Mob Mentality has a 5% chance to grant endurance, frenzy, or power charge per power. Since we have infinite power, we have a guaranteed chance of getting any charge. You can see here, we have 2 power charges. Now we have a frenzy. Now we have 2 frenzies. Now we have a 3rd power charge. And you keep going at this. Now you have 3, so now you have 3 of each. So if you want to be like realistically, you can probably say like 1 of each. If that makes you feel any better, I don't really care about my DPS, because this is not including the double damage of Intimidating Cry. People forget. And people always butthurt about this fucking number. Chill the fuck out, okay? It's still not even with double damage. It can be 2 million. I don't fucking care. You saw the clips, right? So that's where all those things are coming from, and then the jewel. Now, the way to craft this, if you go to POBDBs, you go here, ignore my anime bullshit, right? You go to POEDB. You want to go to Cluster Jewels, if I can find them here. Jewels, Cluster Jewels, and then you want to go to Mediums. It loads. Allows me to do my thing. Because they're not mods. I don't know why they changed this. This is absolutely annoying if I go to modifiers. Maybe if I do this. There you go. And then modifiers, Jewel. You want to get a medium Cluster Jewel, and it's going to be Exerted, right? So you want to go to Exerted. If I can find it real quick. Here you go. It says Mob Mentality. You see how it says Attack, and then the other one is Lead by Example. This is Attribute. So here's what's happening. Mob Mentality is the rare one. You see the weighting is really, really low. Also, make sure it's level 75, the Cluster Jewel. You can roll for it because it has Attack on it. You can see like just the only 3 things that have Attack. Right? This, and this. So you have 2 things you can do. Right? I recommend you can alt spam for Mob and then Regal Lead, because the lead is super fucking common and it's gonna, more than likely gonna happen. But rolling for Mob can be quite expensive. Or you can use Attack Fossils, right? That increase the chance of getting Mob Mentality and hope to God to get lead with it. Same thing with Harvest. Harvest also has, roll attack modifiers, and you have a high chance of getting Mob Mentality thanks to the weighting. And then because lead has a high chance of happening, you might get it. If you don't get it, but you get Mob, you can fuck around with the beast crafting. I should have a few beast crafts around here. There's these beast crafts that give you, add a suffix, remove a random prefix. Mediums are always going to be prefixes. So if you have like you know, mob mentality and some like 2 dog shit suffixes, you can do suffix to prefix, and you might just happen to get lead, and that's how I got mine. And these are only like 15C usually a pop. So I highly recommend it. There's a lot of cool things, a way to craft that, and I'm giving you tips because I've had friends who just used 1 harvest and got it right off the bat, and it costs like 2 exalts. It's pretty insane. But the only one you really need is the onslaught one, and that one's really fucking cheap. So be my guest, you can have this by itself until then, right? And that's pretty much the other tree. And the last ascendancy you're gonna pick up is the damage one that makes you can take increased damage. By this point, you know, you'd have determination and armor and all that stuff, so it helps a lot. And also you're gonna be spamming Berserk a lot, and the Berserk gives you less damage taken as well. That's pretty much it. The only thing the only thing to like worry about, obviously, is make sure to check your accuracy all the time. Make sure you have 100% accuracy. Actually, we have a lot of grid. We have 500 grid multi. I forgot that the leveling tree changes, right? Your accuracy is going to be an issue. Your dexterity and intelligence is going to be an issue. So if you look at my gear, my helmet has dexterity and intelligence. My boots have dexterity. My amulet has like all attributes, and this has strength, doesn't matter. And then my other ring, if need be, has accuracy and or a stat or 2. So I highly recommend that you focus on that. And if you can get a Corsair sword, you can drop this, and it'll be so much better for your damage. And yeah, it's pretty neat. That's why this build does so much fucking damage. Let's go over the skill gems real quick. Since Markov hits here, I want to do it through here. Your 6th link is going to be Rage Vortex Pulverize for AoE, and it's basically your damage too, since attack speed doesn't really that matter much. It does, but like we don't care. It's so much damage. Fire Pen or Awaken Fire Pen, Immolate, which is insane. Elemental damage of attack skills and increased crit damage. Now, when you're leveling this, as you can see here, I'm gonna put like a little 4 link here. You can use Rage Vortex. Rage becomes insane. Increased crit melee fizz if you have a slow weapon, which basically is Scava. But if you happen to get a rare fast weapon, you can get Rage Vortex, Rage, increased crit. And then you can use Pulverize instead of melee fizz, which gives you that extra AoE. The reason is because Pulverize, since it has low attack speed, and if you have low attack speed and you don't have Rite of Ruin or you have a slow weapon, it's gonna feel like dog shit. So I don't recommend Pulverize for slow weapons. And that's why if you use a Scava, probably use melee fizz. And then you can add increased crit damage, or one of the other ones like MLA probably is gonna be the next best one. And then your 3 link is gonna be Intimidating Cry, Infernal Cry, Second Wind on 1 weapon. You have your Battle Mage Cry with Wave Conviction, Battle Mage Cry, and Combustion. I already said that. Here is gonna be Leap Slam, Faster Attacks, and then Assassin's Mark on Hit. I put Mark on Hit here because we don't have it in the fucking POB yet, but letting you know that's where the Mark on Hit's coming from. I lowered the level of it just to simulate the last effect. Doesn't really matter. And then your totems is gonna be Vol, Ancestral War Chief, Ancestral Protector, Berserk, multiple totems. The Berserk can be a 1 link, and the rest is just a 3 link. Right? And then auras, you're going to have Determination, Blood and Sand, and Herald of Ash. And then your 1 link Molten Shell on the other one. It's pretty much all your auras for the most part. And then that's pretty much it. Nothing too crazy. Pantheon, you can see here. We took Brine King for cannot be frozen. And then we have cannot be chilled on the boots. Since we're leaf slamming all over the place, movement speed doesn't matter too much. So you can get some pretty cheap boots with no movement speed. And just craft it yourself. Just look for an open prefix. And now you're immune to freeze and chill, which is really nice. And then I got the Restoration of Poisons and Reduced Chaos Damage. I never got the other one. Now I feel stupid. But either way, please pick up the other one. The Reduced Chaos Damage taken. It goes a long way for stupid fights, right? That's pretty much it. Now we can go over the gear real quick. Like I said, you want a Fizz Sword. Another cool trick is you can look for Fizz Swords with Elemental or like ideally Fire damage rolls on them. So this is probably like a 300 something Fizz DPS, but because of the fire damage and since we're fire conversion, this is like a 400 PDPS sword or 400 DPS sword for me, which is really neat. A good way to look for these is like attack speed fractured stuff. But until then, you can use the Scava. But here we have, I already went to the gym, so I'm not going to go over it again. But, just good Fizz, good fire, and then craft either attack speed or crit chance, whatever the case may be. A good way to do is, like I said, was getting a fractured attack speed mod and then slam... your essences. I should have a fuckload here. Essences here. You want to slam essences of contempt. Ideally shrieking or screaming. They're pretty fucking cheap because they're super common. And I see on a one-handed weapon, it gives you a lot of flat fizz, and then that plus the attack speed. As long as you roll like a decent % fizz, you roll pretty fucking high. So it's really nice. Right, helmet, life, res, armor, pretty much, and dex and to craft if you need it. Right, helmet enchant, rage sacrifice. Your chest piece, you just life, res, armor. I just went for like a 2,500 armor chest piece with a bunch of res on it. No damage whatsoever. Astral Plate's probably your best go-to here. Right, and that's pretty much it. I even got a hunter one just to see if I can get like crit or something, and it never happened. It was such a good chest piece, I stuck with it. Because look at that regen, it's insane. Right. down here into the gloves. Your gloves are going to be a good spot for damage. You want attack speed, accuracy, life, and res. Can be a bit expensive. I did find these pretty cheap though. But you want an open prefix for the fire conversion. If you can't afford it, just drop attack speed and just stick with accuracy, life, and res, and then craft the conversion yourself. If you don't have the conversion, you go to TFT or buy it from Global or something. Just don't get scammed, right? And like I said here, these are 2 little mini sockets for mark on hit, assassin's mark. For your boots, you know, like I said, life, res. If you need dex, get dex, and then craft movement speed cannot be chilled. Your belt's gonna be a Stygian Vise with rare and life if you can't afford a bear's girdle because it is expensive and not gonna be there often. You can level up with a rustic sash, or you can even use the intimidator. Let me see if I get it. You can use headhunter. I didn't think I had that. And I believe I don't have an intimidation belt, but you know the one I'm talking about. I can grab it real quick here. This one. Belt Deceiver gives you intimidation. It's not really that big of a deal since we do have intimidating cry, but it gives life and res and global fizz, and it's not a bad belt. You know, it's a cheap little leveling belt if you happen to grab it. Otherwise, use a rustic sash with life and res, craft wet on it, or Stygian Vise until you get a bear's girdle. It gives you that insane maximum range and insane fizz damage and a little bit of life. Right. Other than that, the other ring, this can be just a normal ring or a normal res ring, but you do want a double damage fire ring. Usually these are not as expensive as anymore anyway, as like the ice ones, because ice is kind of more meta than fire right now. But you know, if you can grab them, please do. They're really, really good. And amulets. Well, this other ring is going to be something. Follow the POB for this ring. It's going to be kind of like life, wed, and accuracy, and then you want an open suffix so you can craft over here. War cries cannot exert travel skills. That way you don't have to waste a mastery on them. And let me refund this, by the way. Right, which I had recover life. Because you see here, it says war cries cannot exert travel skills. That way leap slam doesn't take away your exerted attacks, because it's a slam skill, so it will take it away from you. So keep that in mind. So do replace one of these before I forget. Like remove the element one, remove that one for the cannot exert travel skills until you get it in your ring. But you pretty much want life, res, and wed. And if you need interdex, grab it too as well. Right, and amulet, basically any stats you need, which is going to be dexterity and intelligence, crit multi, and flat fizz. I actually found this thing. I think I self-crafted or found it, but it has insane armor and res and life. I was like, wow, this is such a good ammy. Really, really good. And then you want to anoint Panopticon for the totem damage and the +1. Right, and that's pretty much it, dude. Like, it's not really that crazy. You can look into my other videos if you guys need to for the any other information I might have missed. I'm pretty sure I covered it all, or leveling tips or whatever I said. And then for flasks, you know, divine life flask, ideally with crit chance mod, because you do hit a lot. The surgeon's one or doctor, whatever chance you get a charge when you crit with immunity to bleed. You can be a bottle of faith or a sulfur flask with maximum charges, or ideally the crit one as well with reduced effect of curses. You want a diamond flask with crit chance, increased effect, and then ideally again gain charges when you crit. I recommend all for that for everything. Alliance meow, let's be real here. And then I have a fucking Edziri spot for the increased armor and rolled on it, and for chaos res, because I don't have a lot of chaos res. Pretty much. It's like the only use of it. Right, you could technically use Edziri's promise, but I wanted the armor, so I got the armor instead, because it does go a long way. Because if you look at my armor, 16k with a granite, 21k with the Edziri promise, 25k goes a long way, and then you add molten shell, 82%. That's pretty neat. You know, it's not too shabby, if I say so myself. And with that, it pretty much covers the entire build, and pretty much covered this many times already. Again, if you have any questions, you know, let me go full cam here real quick. If you have any questions, go down below. And yeah, I'm just trying to get all these videos out, so I apologize if they're not as high quality as you would usually want. Trying to do is mostly on one takes, but as long as the information's out there for you guys, you know, I'm glad I can be of help. And yeah, join the Discord, the link down below if you have any questions. And moving on to the next 2 builds I gotta post. Pray for me. So see you guys later.